Board of Elections will choose a date, probably Tuesday, to finalize canvass and hear the protest and decide on the outcome of that and vote on that as a board if there's valid reason for it or not. Now, is that?
Yeah, just a clarification, Mr. Cook was actually the
Yes.
protester.
It would have to be.
Ms. Taylor
okay.
is the notary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, I
Yes,
couldn't get all that.
he did not even,
Yeah.
he didn't bring it, it was her.
She brought it, okay, that's
I was
fine.
gonna say, otherwise she would have to be an attorney.
Okay, you're right, okay, thank you. John, will you talk to us?
Sure, is this a good place?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Nobody has a bag of tomatoes to throw at me or anything? So I was in, Graham County on, I think it was, last Friday, and I was helping them reconcile their ballots. And we noticed that the numbers weren't adding up, that we had, the Democratic count was right, the Republican count was right, but the total of the two was off. And we could not figure out why. So I got my supervisor involved, and over the weekend, we did research with the coding and found out that there was a checkbox that had been checked, looking for a third ballot style. So the software was looking for Democratic, Republican, and unaffiliated ballot styles. Now, I'm not a computer programmer, so I can't explain why, but when it got to the bottom of the list, it said, okay, I've got a Democratic count, I've got a Republican count. Oh, I don't have an unaffiliated count. To me, it should have stopped there. But for some reason, it went back to the top saying, oh, I need a third number. Oh, here's a third number, plugged it in. And it happened to be the Democratic number exactly. So it was counting those ballots cast twice. Now, it didn't change the results. It didn't affect the results count when you looked at the different contests, because these machines did their job exactly right. If you look at the machine tapes for each of those precincts, the ballots cast for Dems, ballots cast for reps, and the total ballots cast was perfect. Everything added up correctly. It's when it got put into the software that all of a sudden that addition got messed up. So like I said, they got the copy of the coding, they set up some M100s in Raleigh, and they fed ballots through just to test it. Tapes came out correct, so they took it to the next step, they put it into the Unity software, and then it duplicated the mistake. So, did a little research and found out that in the Unity software, there's a section for like tabulation setup, and that's where it had the third ballot style listed. It had Democratic, Republican, and it was in there as non. Now, normally in a primary, you would have an unaffiliated ballot style because there's things that 17-year-olds can't vote on. So you would have that third ballot style, but in this situation and in Graham, that wasn't the case. So again, why the software did what it did, don't know, but as soon as we went in and unchecked that box, cleared out the results and reloaded everything matched up perfectly. So I called Melanie and I said, hey, I know you guys are on Unity. Did you guys notice anything weird? And she said, well, as a matter of fact, on election night, the numbers weren't adding up, and I called the state, and unfortunately they weren't much help. They didn't know what the solution was or what the problem was, and they just sort of said, well, let's see what happens in Canvas and see if it shakes out. So
On election night, the tapes were matching the cards. The contests were all correct. The only thing that was out of order was the total ballots cast.
And we identified that early on.
Correct.
They did.
And
First tape.
counted every one of those tapes, took those tape ballot counts again, added them up, and they were right, but that total was wrong and we couldn't figure it out.
Right. So on election night, what got reported was 1,231 Democratic ballots cast here in Macon, 7,382 Republican ballots cast. What should have been a total of 8,613, but instead, again, it was doubling that Democratic number, so it was coming out to 9,844. That's what was getting reported. But the 8,613 that you see today should have been the number that night, and it's the number showing this morning.
So we're not missing votes.
No, 1,231 ballots did not disappear. It's just the count was corrected because
And
the
we-
software
Did
patch
not affect the
was-
vote tallies at all.
Yeah,
So
candidate-
they're out of that
Candidate
machine.
totals unfazed, didn't change a thing. It was simply an addition error in the ballots cast.
And it was exactly the same in Grant. It was an exact doubling of the Democrat in both situations, in both
Exact.
counties.
Yes, yes. Now, the whole point of Canvas is to have 10 days to catch these kinds of things. So congratulations to Melanie for noticing it election night and working with me to get it fixed. I came here on Monday and we sat back there and we went through and we adjusted the setting and took off that checkbox, deleted the non-ballot style, cleared everything out. She ran the cards again, perfect match. So,
And again, I'm sorry to reiterate, just for everyone here, the State Board of Elections duplicated the error.
yes, State
Okay.
Board of Elections was able to duplicate the error by taking the coding, putting it into the tabulators, running a few test ballots, going to the Unity computer, and got the exact same situation.
The issue was with the coding on the Unity computer, not
Yes.
the
The
one
the
that,
transference and how it.
when it
interpreted.
compiles the
Yes.
report.
And a statement wasn't, nothing was said on election night by me or the board, because we wanted to find out what the issue was before we put that out there. We knew the contest votes were correct. It did not involve that, we just wanted to know why it happened, get the error fixed before we put a statement out there or said anything.
Gotcha.
And you have canvas to do after an election's over with, so by law and by state, I have things I have to do on top of that. So we were trying to get this done, and that's why nothing public went out there, because it did not affect the results, and we were trying to get the issue fixed, and we wanted John here to explain that.
And just a heads up, the numbers are gonna change again. Because we just did 38 ballots, and as soon as those are uploaded, you'll see the ballots cast number go up that much. So it's, I wanna say the numbers fluctuate during Canvas week as a normal part. 1,231, I think we can all agree is not a normal situation.
It's only gonna
But-
fluctuate to
and
38,
part
right?
of that was, one rumor was that there were over 2,000 absentee ballots, out there missing. We never even had that many absentee ballots to begin with.
And you see how we do the absentee ballots, and we meet on Tuesdays leading up to any election. If there's a certain number of absentees, we meet every Tuesday and go through those and feed them in. But it's not reported until Canvas, so.
We appreciate John
Very
taking his
much.
time.
Very much.
coming
Very
out and
much.
doing
Yeah,
all
yeah, I'm just
He's been
glad
a huge help.
we were able to figure it out and get it fixed.
Calm me down.
Yeah, so, I really don't, it's not my place to make an opinion on the protest, but seems like the protest is just,
A misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding.
it's a
I can understand
misunderstanding
it.
with the numbers changing, but there was a reason for it and the problem was fixed, so.
So let me ask a question, if I may.
It would have been
We've
worse
had
not
a
to fix it.
discussion in several of our meetings about the need to upgrade our equipment, because what we're using is old.
Go,
and
Jeff.
It's not, it's not fully supported, by the companies that we deal with. And so far, we've made proposals to get new equipment and new software. And where do those proposals stand right now?
Let you answer that.
We would have to speak to the commissioners on that. It was
Funding-
supposed to be
funding
put
issue.
on the top of the list of the CIP projects.
Yeah, what I would say to that, Jeff, is, this is I've been beating this dog for 3 years. The county manager and the commissioners have always supported us in our funding requests. They've been real good about that, so I'm not throwing dirt at them. It is in the capital improvement plan, but when was the execution date on that, maybe?
23.
In 23. Of course, I wanted to do it earlier, but 23 is, coming up here in a year. So we'll probably get those. But these things,
That the concerns about fairness of the election and correctness of the counting aren't gonna go away. They'll continue to be with us as long as we have old machines.
as long as we use that Unity system and you have no way to check, she and I saw this error, we spent 30 minutes trying to figure it out, couldn't figure it out. Because you'd had to go into the software to do that, and we're not gonna do that. And as long as we have that system which you can't check without going into the software, anomalies can happen. Of course, this is the first time I've seen one in 20-some years, messing around down here. So, yeah, I would like to see us buy that equipment this FY, but that ain't gonna happen.
Well, I will add that of my 17 counties that I oversee, only 3 have Unity. And, Swain was unfazed. They did not have the issue. I'm not sure why they didn't. Again, it was literally a checkbox in the setup, that happened in both Graham and Swain. And so, now we know to look for it. So the next time we have a primary, if we're still running Unity at that time, not to besmirch Unity, it's the finest in 1980s technology.
There you go.
But we know what to look for. So prior to LNA testing, we can go in and we can look and make sure that the ballots that the machine is looking for are correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can I ask one question? So is Unity both hardware and software, or is it just?
It's a software. It's like it does 2 things. There's 2 parts of it. One part over here creates the memory devices that the results get downloaded to and stores all the data. The other is the reporting side, where you put that media back into the machine and into the software, and it uploads the data. So it's like 2 phases. So.
All right, thank you.
So personally, all you're seeing changing is the 38 votes they just put in.
So I think it's 38. It was 22 and 16
38.
between the provisional absentees. So that ballot cast number will grow by 38 after this is finalized, whenever that happens. And it may adjust by 1 if she has to pull a ballot.
It will.
Yeah.
Clear on that. So it
Minus 1 plus
So it may drop
38.
1. So it may be 37 that it changes. So
It'd be minus 1 from the original count plus the 38.
hopefully that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Thank
Again,
you.
it was a simple code.
Again, thank you.
So
Simple
much.
coding error. So.
All right, so the decision we need to make is, that